If you agree with me, go to Joe 30330 and help me in this fight.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 65 of the Ron and Brian podcast. I am Ron, as always, joined by the man that not only drinks the KoolAid, but knows what flavor it is, Brian. Brian, how the hell are you today, sir?
You know, we're doing great. We are doing great. We're recording. We're just. This is the dream life that I was always promised.
Is it? Is this exactly the way you pictured it to be?
When I was a young boy growing up in Nebraska, I remember there were days when I was sitting on my daddy's tractor, and we'd be riding the cornfields, and he would sit there and say to me, you know, Ricky, one of these days this is all going to be yours. And I knew that wasn't my future, that I was not made to be the son of a farmer. And I knew I was always made for the city, and that's exactly where I'm at right now, Ron. So yes, this is the future.
All right, fantastic. Well, let's get things rolling here right away, like we always
Woo!
do.
Drink of the week.
Na zdrowie.
Salud.
Drink of the week.
Sláinte.
Drink of the week. Drink of the week.
And no theme this week. We just decided to bring whatever the heck we wanted to drink tonight. Brian, what are you drinking today, sir?
I want beer, Ron. I think
Right.
I think it's a safe bet. We've been listening to this podcast. I think it's safe to say that you and I like beer. I know I do.
Beer.
I know.
Liked beer.
I know Justice Kavanaugh likes beer.
I liked beer.
So I'm going with a Yingling lager.
You do like yourself some Yingling.
Well, I bought like the 36 pack at Costco about 2 months ago, and it's just taking space up in my fridge.
Is that a frosty mug you have right there?
It is. What I like to do is I like to keep a couple pint glasses and a couple mugs in my freezer. So this way, as the days and nights pass, I'm always never too far away from a frosty mug.
Smart. Take a pull off that. You've earned it after a long, hot day.
Oh, well, my doctor doesn't think that I've deserved this.
Well, what do doctors know?
Well, apparently he knows. Apparently he knows what my blood work shows, and apparently to him, I should take it easy on the alky, if you know what I'm saying. I mean, one thing that's nice is that I didn't spend the past week literally just hopping across from brewery to brewery, because then that would make my doctor very upset.
I mean,
that I was drinking so much beer.
I think when when you're hitting like 4, 5, 6, 10 breweries in a day, that's a red flag, and I think someone needs to intervene, and someone might need to help you. But
what I struggle with when I think about it is the fact that, and this is just a hypothetical situation,
of course,
but say you're married, which you are.
I am. Yes,
you're married, and your spouse is on. You're basically going on a vacation to wrap around an athletic competition that your spouse is partaking in. And I would imagine that this has created like months of rigorous training.
One would imagine, hypothetically,
just treating your body right, taking care of it. This is going to be a machine that you're going to depend on during this competition. And then right afterwards, as soon as you finish this competition, your spouse, your partner, whatnot, says to you, hey, let's now just literally abuse our body with poison. I mean, I would just think the disappointment would just be too much for me to handle.
Just go on a bender, basically.
Apparently so. Ron, what drink are you going with?
I'm only drinking. I brought beer to the table also. Just one brewery for me. I know how much you love it when I remind you of some of those upstate city names. So this is coming to us from South Glens Falls, New York.
Whoa!
The Common Roots Brewing Company, their Bright Light Double IPA, clocking in at a hefty 8%.
And he takes a swig.
I mean, it's good. It's hoppy. There's no doubt it's hoppy, but it's darn tasty. So shout out to the Common Roots Brewery.
There you go.
So what else? Anything else for drink of the week? I mean, we've been asking people for suggestions. They don't send them. So we'll just keep figuring it out what we want to drink moving forward, little by little. Yeah.
If we're going to do drink of the week, then I do like the idea of a poll.
Okay.
I like the idea of people picking. I just think we need to just put two drinks up ourselves.
All right. Well, we'll work on getting a poll up on Facebook and on the Twitter page, so keep an eye out for that. Help us select our drink of the week. In the meantime, let's move on to This Week in Racism.
This
week
in
racism.
Racism.
A real battle this past week. A lot of discussion on the Facebook page, a lot of votes on the Twitter page. You know, Chris Cooker had rung up a pretty high vote total last week to get his second win, but he was knocked off by Nancy Goodman, 79% to 21%. I think her blend of racism and ignorance and willingness to do it all over again really put her heads and tails above Chris Cooker. Wasn't that your pick? Did you pick this right again, or were you going with Cooker for the win?
To me, it was just a clear sign of it. This was a case where we had she was defiant about her use of racism, and the fact was that there was a follow-up to the original act of racism where she not only tried to victimize herself, but then immediately backed forward with, oh, yeah, I said the N-word, and I'll say it again.
Yeah.
I think that's what cemented her status as an upper-tier racist of the week.
I did it to hurt these people, and gosh darn it, I'd do it again.
Yes.
Well, she's going to be looking for win number 2. I'm going to be honest, I don't think there was a lot of competition this past week. Over in Canton, Michigan, we have a case of a kid playing dodgeball while black. A 10-year-old African-American child has been charged with aggravated assault for hitting a white child in the face while playing dodgeball. The child initially received a 1-day suspension from school and now is facing this criminal charge. Apparently, the issue is with the boy who got hit with the ball. His mother is saying that he has a special condition where head injuries are extremely traumatic to him, which would then beg the question, why the hell was he playing dodgeball in the first place?
Or even why? I mean, aren't head injuries very traumatic to anyone?
You would think so, but maybe he's a special little snowflake.
Well, clearly he is pretty special.
We also have Fran Tirado, the editor of Out Magazine, who recently wrote a Twitter thread about how a white neighbor called the police on both his mother and father within a matter of a couple of weeks. His mother had just been taking an evening walk around the neighborhood, as she often did every night, and his dad had been outside cleaning up branches. So, obviously, good reasons to call the police on both those individuals. Going back to 1971, and if it wasn't, almost, 40, almost 50 years old, that might have qualified for This Week in Racism, but it would have qualified back in 1971. A phone call was unearthed between Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon, and shockingly enough, Brian, would you believe Ronald Reagan might have been a touch of a racist?
No.
Let's take a listen and hear how he referred to the African delegation to the UN.
I had to watch that thing on television as I did. Yeah. To see those monkeys from those African countries. Damn them, they're still uncomfortable wearing shoes.
So, I don't think Ronald Reagan met a minority or a homosexual he didn't dislike.
Which first off, I'll say that and keep in mind, I know that I'm a little bit of a audiophile. I know that I can be a little bit of a snob when it comes to the bit rate of the audio file I'm listening to. Clearly I go lossless. I'm a fan of the FLAC. I don't do MP3s. If you hand me a 128 MP3, I'm not even bothering. The quality of that was awful. I'm not even sure that was Ronald Reagan. Couldn't tell he was talking to Nixon. However, it's all over the media today. Apparently, just a great man. We're besmirching his memory.
Really?
Well, listen, this is the man that gave us trickle-down economics. I mean, one of the greatest things that's ever happened to our economy. He stood toe to toe against the Russians. He was not afraid to say, this is my planet and you are the evil empire. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
And how successful he was in the fight against both drugs and AIDS.
Well, I think the issue with AIDS was a little muddied because I think he hated his son.
Ron Jr.?
Wasn't a big fan of Patty either.
No, and Patty has not exactly been defending him in this situation either. She came out and said there was no excuse for her father to be talking that way.
Has Ron Jr. come out?
I don't think anyone's really bothered to ask him.
I don't think anybody really needs to know.
So we do have a contender this week to go up against Nancy Goodman. No audio for this, unfortunately, but the transcript was enough to really put her over the top. There's a lot here to unpack.
Right.
So let's take our time. We're going down to Copperas Code, Texas. I have no idea where that is. It sounds like a little shithole of a town. But police responded to a call about a child left in a vehicle at the Trackside nightclub around 1:45 a.m. this past Sunday morning. When they arrived, yes, they found about a 1-year-old baby strapped into a car seat, left alone in a car. They went inside the club, ended up arresting the mother of the child, 26-year-old Samantha Grace Vaughn, who had left the child in the car while going in to have some shots with her husband. Very nice. When they attempted to arrest her, she allegedly said, quote, "You will not take my child," and place her with a fucking N-word.
Oh!
That was the start. Then she, of course, fought the cops. She, rammed her head into the police car a few times. But after they arrested her and put her into the car, taking her on the way to the police station, she continued, I better say, quote, "I hope somebody slits your goddamn jugular and an N-word fucks your children in the ass. Crash this car and kill us both. I hope your children fucking die. I hope someone fucks your children in the ass and makes them choke on N-word dicks."
Wow. I mean, I've said some pretty awful things in my lifetime to people, usually trying to make them laugh. But that's just harsh.
And so, we'll put this up on the website. I think what makes it even better is her mugshot, which is classic in the history of mugshots. So we will have Samantha Grace Vaughn going up against Nancy Goodman in our This Week in Racism poll. Again, on Facebook, on Twitter. Check it out and vote on who you feel the worst of the worst is. In the meantime, we're going to keep things rolling here with our Beefs of the Week.
Ron and Brian's Beef of the Week.
Brian, what's bothering you this week?
I have a legit complaint this week.
Now that I definitely want to hear it. I'm all ears. Talk to me.
Lack of customer service at a benefits administrator that I'm working with right now.
All right. Kind of specific, but let's hear it.
Listeners of the podcast know I've recently changed my source of employment. And as such, I'm in a 90-day waiting period for my benefits to kick in with my new employer. So I have elected COBRA coverage for my old employer. They have an outside company that administers their COBRA. Well, they mailed me out paperwork. I received it. I filled it out. And I was told you can pay at a later date. So I chose to pay at a later date.
Makes sense.
Which was this past Monday. So I reach out to the benefits administrator to say, I went to the doctor yesterday and I was told that my medical insurance is not active. And the woman said, yes, we received your payment on Monday, and it generally takes 5 to 10 business days for us to notify your carrier.
That seems like a long time.
Well, considering that it literally is something where you can it takes probably about 20 minutes. And I know that because I have administered benefits internally with organizations, and I know that you can do that. You can pick up the phone, call the carrier, and in literally 20 minutes be off the phone and the person, be activated. So I let this woman know today that I have a surgery coming up. I'm having my taint replaced.
Of course.
Well, I mean, if you remember the titanium taint that we put in last year, it wasn't a permanent solution. It was something that would just, at least allow the scar tissue on my taint to be formed long enough that we could go with a softer material than the titanium. So I said to her, I have surgery this coming Tuesday. So is there any way that we can speed up the process of notifying the carrier? And this woman literally offered me no help.
Very nice.
She said she was going to create a ticket in the system and forward it to the expediting team. And I said to her, is there any way you can just transfer me to the expediting team? And she said, no, what we do is we create tickets and then we forward it to them. And I literally said to her, I spoke to my surgeon this morning, my surgeon's office, and they want to reschedule my surgery because they can't verify that I have insurance.
I think opening a ticket is customer service speak for, I just really want to get you off the phone.
You know what? I'm going to say this, and I genuinely mean this. If you're calling to complain because you opened up your bag of Lay's potato chips and you're shocked to know that it's not filled with potato chips, but it's like 3/4 air, and there's a small amount of potato chips at the bottom, I get that customer service is not going to give a fuck about you. But we're talking, you're in the healthcare industry. You're talking about people's welfare. And I don't mean the kind of welfare that the Republicans are trying to shut down. I'm talking about people's well-being. And this woman could not have given a fuck whether I was able to have my surgery or not. And she doesn't know what my surgery is. It's none of her business.
No. There's laws about that. You don't have to tell her. Just the fact that you're having surgery should have been enough to light a fire under her ass.
And just like Bill Clinton's Tingley potty count, don't ask, don't tell.
Well, hopefully it gets straightened out in time for you to have your surgery next week.
Let's hope, because sitting down is getting very unpleasant.
Understood.
Ron, what is
yes.
your beef?
My beef this week?
What is bothering you this week?
What is bugging me? People who steal other people's pets. A friend of mine shared a Facebook post of a friend of hers because someone literally stole her dog out of her yard. And I've seen this around. We've had that in this neighborhood. I've seen it where, for whatever reason, people just steal pets. There was even an article this past week. An Amazon driver her and her boyfriend stole a Chihuahua from somebody's yard that they were delivering a package to, and then tried to sell it on Craigslist for $70. Stealing from people is bad enough, whether it's a car, whether it's jewelry, whether it's a beer mug, what have you. Stealing is bad. Stealing is wrong. But when you take somebody's pet, that's just a whole nother level of scumminess, in my opinion.
I think it's indicative of an overall lack of respect for other human beings. I think we're going through a phase where people just generally do not show respect for each other, and that I would put in that category.
Well, we've talked about in the past how the social contract used to be in effect in this country, where you just did things because of other people. Now there's no social contract. There's no common respect or common courtesy amongst people for the most part.
Well, have you heard? Well, you've seen the latest internet. I don't know whatever the fuck they call it. It's not really a challenge or anything, but people going into supermarkets and food stores and tampering with food.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen videos. There was one woman who took the lid off of an ice cream container and licked the ice cream, put the lid back on, put it back. Then I saw somebody take a bottle of Gatorade, twist it off, spit into it, close it, and put it back. And then this past week, there was an article in the New York Post, and I think it was across the internet, about how police arrested a woman who was caught on video peeing on potatoes in Walmart in Western Pennsylvania.
She really took it to a whole nother level.
She literally walked in, and then they could see on the video camera in Walmart, because let's face it, Walmart, you're being recorded the second you enter the parking lot.
Yeah,
'Cause
you're on.
Walmart's just
You're
creepy.
24/7 surveillance there.
Yeah, so she literally walks over to the where the potatoes are, and urinates all over them, and then leaves. And this, I mean, what kind of human being? Don't get me wrong. I've done shitty things. I've never done nothing really like life altering. Like I've never stolen somebody's pet.
Good to hear.
But like, what kind of person sits there and says, you know what? I'm going to go into a store and urinate on something that somebody's going to eat, and I'm not going to be around to see the effect of it. You know, it's one thing to play a prank on somebody and then watch that. You know, like I remember in college, you know, if somebody fell asleep at a party, I would tie their shoelaces together.
Which
So
is,
when they stood up and tried to take a step, they'd fall over until somebody actually landed on the coffee table and actually like hurt their ribs. And I was like, okay, that joke's gone too far. But like the whole payoff of a prank is that you get to sit and watch the effect of it. This is just people fucking with others just for the sake of it. To me, that's a whole level of a psychopath.
And
to me, it's the kind of psychopath that takes that goes on vacation for a week with their spouse and then forces their spouse to hit up 18 different breweries in a matter of 48 hours. I mean, that's some dangerous behavior. You know, you got to question somebody's mental state on that.
And in most states, tampering with food items like this is a felony. And normally, I'm against court cases and sending people to jail for no reason. Like this shit, I'd be okay with them prosecuting. Like the girl who opened up the ice cream and licked it, they decided not to prosecute her because she was 16, because she was a minor. You know what? I'd be more than happy with them charging someone like that as an adult. Because when because that kind of started the trend recently.
Correct.
And when people see that other people are doing this and getting away with it, it emboldens them to try and do something that much worse. And like you and I were around back when people died because there was laced Tylenol in the stores.
Yes.
So that's why when you open up a bottle of aspirin, there's a padlock on it and all these different security features. Are we going to have to go to that level for our food moving forward?
We may have to.
I'm with you on that one, though.
Okay. So
and the brewery one too. I'm with you on the crazy brewery story too. Just throwing that out there.
Thank you. It's important to me that you support me
I try.
in all of my endeavors.
Speaking of lack of respect, we had 2 more nights of the Democratic debates this week. These on CNN. Again, you think they would have learned from MSNBC. CNN also didn't seem to have much luck operating their microphones, especially last night. I know they had numerous issues, it seemed, in the beginning with Kamala Harris's mic. But just what was your takeaway from these last couple of nights of debates?
I was afraid you were going to ask.
I mean, I don't know. Again, you read all the pundits and everybody what they talk about. It doesn't seem like much changed. I don't know that anyone had. Although John Delaney just got destroyed by Elizabeth Warren to the point that people had actually changed his Wikipedia listing to claim that he had been murdered by her the other night. Which I
didn't even know John Mulaney was running for president. I thought he was just waiting for his next Netflix special.
And she made a very good point. He was going on about, how this can't be done, that can't be done. And she made a very simple comment like, I don't know why people run for president just to talk about the things that they can't do. And it's a very valid point.
See, I actually think I would rather somebody be honest with what can and cannot be done than having somebody run for president and talk about all these things they're going to do when history says they're not going to do them. I mean, let's be brutally honest. Obama ran on I'm going to shut down Guantanamo Bay. Never did.
Which he did. No, it's closed. I'm pretty sure I read that.
No, fuck that. I will rant for a second while you look that up. Gitmo is still up and running.
Yes, I know.
I thought you were serious.
No, I just like setting you off.
Donald Trump said he was going to build the wall. He said he was going to make Mexico pay for it. We've not built the wall. We're still trying to figure out how we're going to fund the wall, let alone he's already accepted that Mexico's not going to pay for it. So it's just, if you want to go back, we can keep pointing out different presidencies and where they failed. And
Bill Clinton did have sexual relations with that woman.
Exactly. He claimed
George H.W. Bush said no new taxes, but there were new taxes.
Yeah, so it's like it's maybe an actual politician who's going to be honest and say, hey, this work we can do, that we can't do. That might be a little bit better than people that are going to get up there and say, healthcare for everyone, how are we going to pay for it? I have no idea, but it's going to happen. Like, you've got candidates like Bernie Sanders, and I not expose myself particularly to, but he has these very grandiose ideas, and albeit I like the idea of them, I just question how feasible they are.
Okay, that's fair enough. But should you at least give credit to people for coming up with ideas versus just saying, let's try and fix things, but not really have a plan to do so?
I give credit for people that are thinkers, that are dreamers, that are people that create concepts. I give credit because the world needs people like that. But we also need people that are practical and can address the reality that we live in. And I think that the right politician is somebody in the middle.
Okay.
Who's not just focused on wouldn't it be great if we could, but who's actually sitting there saying these are realistic ideas that I'm going to do everything I can to put through, and I'm not going to get up here and tell you that we're going to do so. Kristen Gillibrand got up there and she said that when she gets into the Oval Office, the first thing she's going to do is wipe Clorox all over the furniture. Now, let's just be brutally honest. Kristen Gillibrand has a snot's chance of getting into that Oval Office. I mean, she has a better chance of being selected for a VIP tour of the Oval Office than being elected in it.
Although Seth Meyers did have a great comeback for that line of hers where he said, I don't think you are allowed to bring Clorox into an active crime scene.
What was your take? I mean, honestly, I'm going through, it's not fatigue, but I'm just incredulous that they're debating already.
It seems a bit early, and there's just so many of them. I mean, you would hope someone would write a song about how many people are in the Democratic debate, but I don't know. Maybe we'll figure out a way for people to hear something like that later on. But I digress.
But Ron, didn't you do something like that?
We're teasing it right now. We'll do a little callback.
I distinctly remember you did something. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong.
We'll come back to that later. But yeah, and again, and Joe Biden had a good point today, even though he seemed a bit befuddled last night, where he said, the only person that really benefited from the last two nights of debates was Donald Trump, because you really started to see some of the candidates tear into each other. Last night, Tulsi Gabbard really went after Kamala Harris.
She went hard. She went hard on that.
Joe Biden took a beating from everybody. And I got
turned on by Joe Biden taking a beating, not the other one.
I play this clip in the beginning. I will play it again and see. I saw the quizzical look on your face.
What the fuck was he talking about?
So this was the end of the debate where all of the candidates were giving their kind of exit speech and talking about how they could find more information. So this is what Joe said.
If you agree with me, go to Joe 30330 and help me in this fight.
So I'm going to give you a second to see if you can figure out what he was trying to say there.
3033, is that a zip code?
So what he meant to say was that if you want to support him, text Joe to 30330. But instead he said whatever it was that he said there.
Okay. Can I
But
hear that again? Now
If
I've
you
got
agree
context.
with me, go to Joe 30330 and help me in this fight.
so like he starts like by go to like, and you expect he's going to give you like a website, and then I mean I got to play it one
If
more
you
time.
agree with me, go to Joe 30330 and help me in this fight.
And I think I'm going to play it one more time. I just want you to listen. After he says Joe, I think that's when he realizes that he's fucked
Yep.
up, but he just has to keep going
If you
at this
agree
point.
with me, go to Joe 30330 and help me in this fight.
He's like, go to Joe 30. Oh boy. 330. Oh boy. So not a good showing for him.
I like to think that there's somebody in the audience that's from his campaign staff that is sitting there and saying, like, I'm going to put up my fingers. I'm going to put up fingers when you have to start reading the numbers, because we know old Joe, Grandpa Joe's not going to remember all these numbers. So all you have to do is say, go to Joe, and now he's looking in the audience, so there's somebody going like 3303. Fuck yourself, like with middle finger. I don't know. Like he it sounds like he's reading off something or just struggling to remember it.
And then
Not a good week.
Cory Booker made a comment at some point because Joe Biden, again, going at... And it's funny because Joe Biden was like, well, we're handing Donald Trump this election. But then he went after people. He went after Cory Booker by accusing him of allowing illegal stop and frisk in the city of Newark when he was mayor there. And so, Cory Booker said to him, there's a saying in my community, you're dipping into the Kool-Aid and you don't even know the flavor. I still have no fucking clue what that means. Can you perhaps shed some light on what that is?
Oh, is that because you think I'm from the inner city?
I mean,
am from the inner city, and
you're
I will
closer
explain
to Newark
this.
than I am.
I'll explain this to you. Growing up in Newark, one of the things that we liked to do was we would hang out in front of the apartment complex, and my mama, she would come down with KoolAid, which was basically she would take a pound of sugar, put that in a glass container, put the KoolAid mixture in, and then she would fill it to the top with water. She would take a wooden spoon, mix it, and it would be good stuff. Just good stuff. So my point being is the fact that she would bring it down, and we would be so thirsty that we would just start drinking out of the water pitcher. We wouldn't even care what the flavor was, because we were just so thirsty that we weren't educating ourselves. We didn't care about facts. All we wanted was the Kool-Aid.
But
would you prefer if I go back and say that it's a reference to Jonestown, the massacre?
I don't think it was,
because I could tell that story if you'd like.
But I don't. I'm still trying to. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I just had to look it up here. Apparently, the actual saying is, "You all up in the Kool-Aid and you don't even know the flavor."
Which means what?
Still not 100% sure.
Does that mean that's like you're enjoying something and like you're just ignorant about?
It's
what,
like
what
you're talking
enjoying?
about something, like you're in the middle of something, but you really have no idea what you're going on about.
That's like a fly on shit in a Georgia peach pie.
Something like that.
They have a lot of sayings in the South.
So Cory got roasted for using that as he rightfully should have.
Well, I think it's fair.
But yeah, to your point, I think it's a little early. We're still not even in 2020 yet. So,
Right.
Again, I think with or without this debate, I don't think much changes. I think that the top 4 or 5 people remain the same. I loved Tim Ryan the other day telling Bernie Sanders, "You don't have to yell," which is alien news to Bernie Sanders. But then the next day, Tim Ryan, his campaign puts out stickers that say, "You don't have to yell." Tim Ryan 2020.
Ugh.
Which may be the worst political slogan ever. You don't need to yell. And It's like, well,
Well,
actually,
last-
right now you need to yell. Like, we're in a time and frame right now where we need to yell.
Well, the other problem is the fact that the last thing you want to do is come across like you're yelling at an old man or you're scolding an old man, because you're going to lose the senior vote. And we know senior citizens love to vote on Election Day.
Also, you saw Bill de Blasio got heckled last night as well.
Good for him.
He was
Good for him.
Basically, people were chanting "Fire Pantaleo," who is the New York City cop that was responsible for killing Eric Garner back in 2014. He is still employed by the NYPD, and there was a group of protesters hoping to get de Blasio out and get him to fire Pantaleo. But other than that,
Do they know that he's in a union, that you can't just fire people like that?
Well, but again, I don't think de Blasio made any type of impact other than that. He was definitely a lot more muted than he was in the first debate.
Well, what I heard was that there was a question having to do with Eric Garner, but they didn't address it to de Blasio.
Correct.
They asked somebody else, which just says right off the bat, you're irrelevant.
Yeah, if it's your own city and they're not even addressing it, if they're giving if they're giving the question to Cory Booker, to Castro, to Pete Buttigieg, and they're ignoring you, it's about. I mean, when you're polling less than 1%, that doesn't help you out either.
Right.
But I was going to say there was a kid from Syracuse University that bought the Joe30330.com right away and now has that redirecting to his own personal website, which you got to love the kid's ingenuity. Initially, he had it redirecting to Pete Buttigieg's site, and then he realized he might get in some trouble for that, so he just redirected it to his own goofy website that he has. But good for that kid.
Absolutely. Good for him.
Now, maybe
Joe 30330.
Joe 30.
If you agree with me, go to Joe 30330.
That's gonna live on. Like, if I guarantee you, if Biden wins the primary and goes up against Trump, the Trump campaign will use that clip repeatedly because it shows Biden as an old, confused individual.
Yeah, but it also you're talking about Trump. He co-fified on Twitter one day. I mean, like, he's not.
I'm not saying there isn't a lot to come back at Donald with, but I'm just throwing that out there.
All right.
So we'll keep track of the debates. I don't think any new debates are set at this time, so we'll see where it goes from here. But still a lot of campaigning ahead of us. Let's get into some celebrity deaths that we had this past week with our new segment that people seem to love after we rolled it out the other week. Grade That Death. So we will talk about who died. Brian and I will argue about what grade to give that individual. And Brian, who do we have up first on the plate?
Well, first we're going to start off with Nick Buonaconti.
Member of the perfect, unbeaten 1972 Miami Dolphins team?
Not only that, but the man was just handsome. I mean, just an amazing. I mean, I could make it would cause me to rethink things.
Really, just a pair of eyes that you can lose yourself in on that man.
I'm going to tell you something. There have been times where I've been looking at a picture of Nick Buonaconti and said to myself, I didn't know that I had these kind of feelings.
So did it say
Anyway,
what he passed away from?
mostly-
He was in his 70s, right?
He was in his 70s, and cause of death not known. But for people of my generation, it wasn't the 1973 or the 72 Miami football team that he was most known for. It was the TV show that he appeared on, which I'm sure you grew up with.
And what was that? Which one was that? Webster?
You don't remember? You don't remember? Are you kidding me? Inside the NFL on HBO.
Oh, I was. You know what?
remember
When
that?
I was a kid, we didn't have
Come
that.
on.
We didn't have that kind of money to be getting HBO when I was a kid.
It was him and Len Dawson, and once a week they would talk about the previous week in the NFL. And Buonaconti was the football guy. Len Dawson was, albeit a former football guy, but he was more of the intellectual of the two. So he would sit there and, Nick would talk about, the grit of the play. Well, Len would talk about the thought process. He was the smart quarterback. But yeah, I just if we're talking Nick Buoniconti, I'm going to go C plus. Most people don't even know who the fuck he is. You weren't even aware he was on Inside the NFL. At best,
I was not. So I will go with you on that. Definitely, an icon, Hall of Famer, member of one of the greatest teams in NFL history. But I'll match your C plus on that. I'll agree with you on that. Now, if you want to talk about sports legends, we lost another Hall of Famer today. That from the WWE Hall of Fame. Harley Race, former pro wrestler, passed away at the age of 76 from lung cancer. He was an 8-time NWA world champion, one of the original tough guys, one of the original badasses in pro wrestling. Came to the WWE, I want to say late 80s, early 90s maybe, and they kind of saddled him with a king gimmick. He was King Harley Race for a number of years, but he had legendary battles with Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, a guy that just, if you were a fan of true pro wrestling back in the 70s, 80s, he was one of the guys you would follow. I'm going to give this one, I'm giving this a B+. Brian, what's your take on it?
Ooh, this is going to get awkward. I mean, Harley Race, if you're a fan of wrestling in the 80s, you are upset that Harley Race has passed away. But I'm going to say Harley Race, C. No better than a C. That's how I stand. That's where I stand.
Well, Brian, I understand your lack of respect for pro wrestling and the wrestling community, but we'll have to agree to disagree on the grade for this fine individual, Hall of Famer. Now, who else did we lose this week? Anybody else famous?
Yes, we lost a member of the Bin Laden family, Hamza Bin Laden.
There were still some of those around?
Not only are they still around, but he was the de facto heir to the Al-Qaeda organization. Unfortunately, he was taken out under some mysterious circumstances. It was an operation that the U.S. was involved in, but they're not saying exactly what was the operation or what country it took place in.
We apparently had a role of some sort, but where he was killed, where he died, where his body is at the moment, what our involvement is, not quite certain at the moment.
I had a dinner rolled, but that doesn't mean I had anything to do with this. Anyway, and so I'm giving him a B- just because of his last name.
I mean, I got to give him an F just for being a Bin Laden.
Oh, Ron, you can't.
USA,
you cannot let your
USA.
You cannot let your personal feelings and patriotism come into play during Grade the Celebrity Obituary.
Well, it's too late, Brian. Too goddamn late.
I guess, and then, not but not least, is we're scraping the barrel.
No, my friend, you're so wrong on this aspect.
You don't even know what I'm about to say.
All right, no, go ahead, say it.
Hal Prince, giant of Broadway, reaper of Tonys, dies at the age of 91. For a lot of people who are right now listening saying, who the fuck is Hal Prince? I'm going to say that he was literally Broadway royalty, a prodigious Tony winner who produced or directed some of the most enduring musicals in theater history, including West Side Story, Fiddler on the Roof, Cabaret, Ron and Brian Take Philadelphia, Sweeney Todd, Phantom of the Opera. Died in Reykjavik, Iceland at the age of 91. It's said that the U.S. played a role in his death, but they don't say exactly what the operation was. So Mr. Prince, dies under a cloud of mystery. Mystery being, who is Hal Prince?
He was one of the people that helped pioneer the creation of the concept musical. I mean, Broadway would not be what it is today without his involvement. And I think you just have a Broadway bias, I think.
Are we talking about the same Broadway that put out the fine production of Cats, which you were supposed to explain to me last week?
What was I supposed to explain to you?
The plot of Cats.
Well, first, I think we need to point out to people the fact that you have seen Cats on Broadway.
Yes.
And still don't know what the plot of it is.
I walked out of the theater that day not understanding the plot at all. It felt like it was cats interacting, and then they would sing random songs.
So, and I have not seen Cats, the musical. I kind of refuse to because I don't think it would live up to the hype. But apparently, from what I have read, the plot of it is that all of these cats are like introducing themselves and competing to be the cat chosen to go up to cat heaven and be reborn again.
What? But that doesn't even make sense. Wait a second. So the idea is that they're trying to die so they can come back.
Exactly. They are, that's why they're introducing themselves. They're singing, they're dancing. They want to be picked as like the best cat to die and be reborn as a cat again, I guess.
So it's, what are they, a collection of like 15-year-old goth kids who hang out at the mall?
They're shopping at Hot Topic.
Mom, I wish I could die. I wish I could die.
What I think
that's ludicrous.
What I think is even better is that I read this week that Idris Elba is in the movie adaptation of Cats, and he does not even understand what the plot of the own movie he was in was. So you're not alone, Brian.
No, I'm definitely not. So Hal Prince, I still do not understand why he warrants even us. He's not even honorable mention on celebrity deaths.
I'm rating this death an A-.
I'm going to give him a D because he would have been an F, but he is not related to anybody that attacked my country.
You like the D, Brian. I get it. You like the D.
I like giving the D, Ron.
I just don't think you have a respect for Broadway.
I don't really think I like giving the D either, but that's neither here nor there. Do I have respect for Broadway? I do, but I also don't know what a director and the role of a director does. I know what a director in Hollywood does.
Okay, so what does a director in Hollywood do?
They take the script and they give instructions to the actors on how to play their part.
So don't you think a director on Broadway would do something similar? Teach the actors how to play out their roles, where to be on the stage, helping with the whole magic that is Broadway.
Now, my comment to you is the fact that as an avid fan of theater and somebody who, I subscribe to Playbill magazine. Whenever a new show comes out, they send me the Playbill.
Nice.
I am Broadway. They call me Broadway Brian. Well, they did back when I was in the Hells Angels. Not really. I was never in the Hells Angels. Point being is just the fact that what I'm getting at here is that they talk about actors and plays. They talk about the people that wrote the songs. They talk about people that wrote the book. I never hear them talking about directors.
And that's how good of a job Hal Prince did. Is you didn't even need to know about him.
In movies, there are directors that are so big, they don't even talk about the actors. Who was in Stephen King's last movie?
Well, that would have been who was that guy? Kierkegaard. Not
Doesn't
Kierkegaard,
matter.
Skarsgård.
He's not a director, so that was a terrible example that I just gave you. I meant to say Steven Spielberg, yet Stephen King came out. Stephen King is a writer.
Yes, he is.
He doesn't actually direct any of his stories. But my point being was Steven Spielberg, Lucas, De Palma, Scorsese. These are household names. You see De Palma's name. You see who's the guy that did The Godfather? The one whose name forgets, but I was about to say how you can never forget his name.
Scorsese?
Coppola.
Oh, Coppola, sorry.
Everybody knows Coppola. Everybody knows Coppola to the point where they know his daughter.
Sophia.
Hal Prince, not a household name, not a celebrity.
All right. Agree to disagree once again.
I would be more upset if the construction worker in The Village People died than Hal Prince died.
All right, well, that stings a little bit, but that's how you want to be. Speaking of legendary performances, Brian, we received the recording of our live show at the Philadelphia Podcast Festival this past week.
That's great.
It was even better than I remember it being. I mean, it was a little shorter than normal, about 50, 51 minutes, but I think it was just really, it was solid gold from beginning to end. So if people want to,
I felt it was one of my best performances.
No question, no question about
it. We kept it light. We kept it loose. We had a live drink of the week where audience members were able to participate, and they were able in real time to pick the drinks that we were going to have, and the losers were handed out into the audience. Now, one thing that I didn't even think of until after the fact was we were not checking IDs.
We were not. So hopefully the people we gave the drinks to, I mean, it was a crowded room. People were grabby, reaching up. So hopefully whoever ended up with them were of legal age.
Now, I've been checking the website, and we have received a lot. And I imagine most of them were people that showed up to the taping, but were not able to get inside the hall where we recorded it. But a lot of people asking when are you going to upload it to iTunes? When can I hear this on YouTube? When will this be on Spotify? Where can I catch this on Podcast Dreamer? When will this be on Google Podcast? Stop me at any point.
All right, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
I mean, I'm looking through the emails and everything now. People are asking when it's available. So we're going to release this actually to the public about a month from now. We're going to hold on to it like a fine wine. But if you would like to listen to it prior to it being released to the general unwashed public, you can go to our brand new Patreon page, which, Brian, where can people find that at?
Joe 30330.
And where else?
They can go to patreon.com/The Ron and Brian Podcast. You got to spell out and, so it's TheRonandBrianPodcast. That's patreon.com/The Ron and Brian Podcast. We've got several tiers of memberships, of subscription, if you would. Now, what we wanted to make sure that at every tier there was something additional that listeners would be able to get. I think, it's safe to say that you and I have been just basically, this has become philanthropy for us.
It has.
You say that you take part in charity and you've questioned, where, what I have done. We've been giving away our art for free to the masses. Now we're going to start offering exclusive content to Patreon, so that there's going to be some stuff that's going to go on Patreon that will never be released to the public. Podcasts that we're going to do, maybe special interviews with guests, that's going onto the Patreon. This first episode that's going to the Patreon in about a month. I'm not going to say definitely, exactly 30 days, but in about a month, the Live from the Philadelphia Podcast Festival will go to the free podcast sites. But for the next month, you've got to be a subscriber here. So we've got 6 tiers.
And what can people get on those tiers, Brian?
Fucking swag. First tier, aluminum. Why? It's helpful, but does it really do anything for the world? Not really. So we're calling the first tier $5 a month is what your subscription is. What does this get you? 5 podcast stickers. We call this the 5 for 5.
Is that what we call it?
I just made that up.
All right,
Next, you've got the bronze. Now you're paying $10 a month. Your support is appreciated. Here you get the benefits of the aluminum, which is you get to hear the podcast festival. You get your 5 podcast stickers. Now you're also going to receive 2 Ron and Brian podcast magnets. You've seen them online. You've seen them on social media, the Twitter, the Facebook, the Joe 30330. You've seen them on Instagram. Now you can have 2 podcast magnets. Are yours signing up for the bronze level membership, only $10 per month, which is really the cost of 2 cups of coffee.
Yeah. Good coffee.
Well, very good coffee. Next, now we're going to up our game a little bit. Now
We're talking silver.
Ooh.
Silver. It's like a silver blue agave. $25 a month. What does that get you? First off, appreciation. And at the end of the day, isn't that really what counts? You get your stickers. You get your magnets. You get 2 Ron and Brian shot glasses.
Ooh. Anything else with that?
But wait, there's more. You also get naming rights on an upcoming drink of the week on the podcast.
So I could technically name the drink of the week after Hal Prince if I wanted to spend $25.
This is the Hal Prince drink of the week.
Interesting. Could I have the Proud Boys drink of the week?
Absolutely.
All right.
We will make any reference to whatever white nationalist group you want if you're willing to give us $25.
All right. That seems fair.
I think that's pretty much it. We don't need to offer more levels, correct?
I think we need to keep going, keep pushing it higher, keep reaching for the sky.
What's after silver?
I mean, gold, it would make sense to me.
Well, at gold, that's going to cost you $50 a month, Ron. And at gold, you're going to get 5 stickers, 2 magnets, 2 shot glasses, and now you're going to get a Ron and Brian podcast baseball cap.
Wait, what are those fancy baseball caps like people have seen us wear on our own Facebook page?
Absolutely.
Nice.
The ones that people were asking for them at the podcast festival, which you can only listen to if you become a subscriber on our Patreon. We didn't bring the baseball caps. Why? Because that's only for gold subscribers. When you walk down the street wearing your Ron and Brian podcast baseball cap, you can hold your head up high because you weren't one of the cheap bastards that signed up for aluminum, bronze, or silver. People will look at you, tip their cap, look at you with appreciation,
respect,
because they know that you are a person of dignified tastes.
That has to be the limit. We can't possibly be asking for anything more than that.
Well, I would say that we could continue to offer stuff, Ron.
All right. What more could people possibly want?
Have you thought of a platinum level at only $75 a month?
So, wait. At 50, I'm gold, but 75, just a mere 50% above that, I leap to platinum?
For only $25 more than the gold, you get the 5 stickers, the 2 magnets, 2 shot glasses, the Ron and Brian podcast baseball cap. Now, you also, for $25 a month, get to have Brian, me, slow jam a message of your choice on an upcoming podcast. You want me to slow jam a happy birthday greeting to your grandma? I'll slow jam the shit out of it. You want me to slow jam your uncle's obituary? Oh, I will slow jam the fuck out of that one. You want it? $75 a month. I'll slow jam it.
What if I want to get engaged and I don't quite know how to do it? Would you slow jam an engagement announcement for me?
You know, baby, I love you, and I want to get married to you.
I'm getting my wallet out right now.
You're cracking it open for $75. And now, I mean, I'm just exhausted. There's nothing more we could do.
I think we have to go one more. We have to
What
go
can we do?
that much higher. I think you got to go. Did we go titanium already?
No.
Did we go
Titanium's
cobalt?
in my taint.
Titanium's in your tank. What's a higher metal than where we're already at?
I don't know that we go metal. I think here we've got to go something more precious.
Like
What's more
a
precious?
diamond?
Ooh.
Oh.
You think there's a diamond level?
I think so. At $150, I think it is.
5 stickers, 2 magnets, 2 shot glasses, a baseball cap. Brian slow jams a message of your choice, and I hope you're sitting down for this. I'll give you a moment while you sit down, listener. You get to have Ron and or Brian read an ad copy of your choice up to 60 seconds in length on an upcoming podcast. You want us to send a birthday greeting? You want us to do an ad for your plumbing company? We will happily read your ad copy.
And we'll also promote it through our social media channels.
Absolutely. Now, here's the kicker, and this is where things are going to get a little tight. And I don't want everybody to rush because I don't want you to crash the Patreon servers. But the diamond level, the $150 per month subscription, this is literally the pinnacle of what we are offering. Now, I'm going to repeat myself. 5 stickers, 2 magnets, 2 shot glasses, baseball cap, Brian Slow Jams, a message of your choice, and Ron and Brian not only read your ad copy on a podcast, but we will also promote you on social media for only $150 a month. We've decided to limit participation at the diamond level.
To how many people? Or you don't even want to tell people that. You just want to let them know time is limited for the diamond level.
It says it right there on Patreon. So it's not really a secret.
Right.
Hear the idea. Diamonds are exclusive. They're a woman's best friend.
They are.
They are the way that one person in a relationship says to the other, I want you forever. So let's make our relationship exclusive. Here's a diamond. Well, how do we make this group exclusive? We have limited participation at the diamond level to 1,000 subscribers. Once we have 1,000 people that are paying $150 a month, we are no longer going to be accepting diamonds. So you can sign up for gold, you can sign up for silver or platinum. You cannot get the diamond level service.
And normally they say for diamonds you should spend 2 months' salary. So at $150, this is actually quite a bargain.
It depends. With the current economy and the job reports that are coming out, a lot of people that might actually be equal to 2 months' salary.
Good point. So check us out on the Patreon.
People, we're going to be promoting the shit out of it on social media, so get ready to be annoyed. Patreon.com, the Ron and Brian podcast. We'll be blasting out links. Do not hesitate. In fact, as we've been listening, we already have our first subscriber.
Nice.
I don't even know how that is.
You know, it's how quick.
That's insane.
We call it the Ron and Brian bump, and you can get that via the diamond
Apparently,
level.
we just got it. We just got the amazing. All right, there we go. We've got 6 tiers. People, we've been offering this the brilliance of us 1 hour a week for free. We're talking now. This is a way for you to help us. You can help pay for better equipment for us. You can help pay for a T1 line that will offer us better streaming video. We can start videotaping these podcasts. It's the sky's the limit of what we can do. We just need your support. And what better way than saying to us thanks than for you to open up your wallet and say thanks.
Here's some cold hard cash for you.
Yeah. Ron and Brian on Patreon, the Ron and Brian podcast. Exclusive content right now, exclusive to our subscribers, the audio of our
Philadelphia Podcast Festival.
Damn right, Skippy.
All right. Let's moving on. We got a couple of stories here. This one just fascinated both of us this week. The Biological Resource Center in Phoenix, Arizona, which was actually closed down back in 2014 when the FBI raided it. But the reports were just finally released due to a new lawsuit. Apparently, the Biological Resource Center was a place that when a loved one passed away, you could donate their body to science and specify what areas you'd like the body potentially to be given to. But apparently they found a bunch of horrible things inside this center when they raided it. Buckets of body parts, a cooler filled with male genitalia, and a woman's head sewn onto a male torso like Frankenstein. Just a bit disturbing.
There's got to be photographs out there, and I don't know why they haven't leaked.
I don't know either. Also, after this story came out, a man found out that his mother's body, he had donated it in the hopes that it would go towards Alzheimer's research. Her body was actually sold to the U.S. military, which then blew it up to see what the effect of an IED would be on a human body. And he's very upset by that.
That's terrible.
Although I got to say, if you're dead, it'd be kind of cool to be blown up at that point.
He blew it up. He blew it up real good.
He done did blew up.
Blew up.
Listen to some of these prices that you used to be able to get. You could get a whole body with no shoulders or head. You could purchase that for $2,900. Or if you want a whole spine, that retailed for $950.
Okay.
So what kind of punishment do you think the man who ran this center got?
I'm going to say he got 2 to 5 years.
He got 1 year deferred jail time, 4 years probation, and was ordered to pay $121,000 in restitution.
That's because we don't care about dead people.
We don't. We really don't. What else happened this week, Brian? Anything else we want to touch on?
Yeah, I would say what else do we want to touch upon? So much, Ron. I mean, I think if you're leaving it up to me, there was the shooting at the in California
at the Gilroy Garlic Festival.
Now, normally I'm not going to be shocked about a mass shooting. Not going to be shocked at a mass shooting in California. Confused as to what a garlic festival is.
It was weird because it said it was a garlic festival, but everyone kept referring to it as a food festival. So maybe it was a food festival that centered around garlic-based foods.
It's possible.
Because I have been to a restaurant in San Francisco where everything on the menu involved garlic, including desserts.
There is a restaurant in Brooklyn I want to take you to next time you're up here. Everything on the menu involves pickles.
Ugh, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. So the gunman, I believe, was killed by police.
Yep.
Apparently was posted some white nationalist stuff on his Instagram page. Bought the guns legally. So
yeah, he's a piece of garbage. Glad he's dead.
Yeah.
Wish he hadn't decided to take other people out. Just the world we live in. However, in true American fashion, we offer our thoughts and prayers.
Yes, and nothing else.
No, nothing.
Another college admissions scandal this week, different from the parents that were paying extravagant amounts of money to get their kids into college. Now it's turned out that dozens of college students from well-to-do families were getting financial aid meant for poorer families thanks to a legal loophole. The families were giving up custody of their children in order to get these financial aid grants. Some wealthy families, some middle class families. It's not the tactic's legal, but it's definitely questionable how ethical it is. So,
I would say it's morally corrupt.
You would think so. But since it's illegal, there's really not much people can do about it. They brought it to the attention of the U.S. Department of Education. Now it's really up to the Department of Education to work on closing these loopholes and getting rid of this guardianship provision that wealthy families are taking advantage of.
It happens.
And you shared you shared a good quote, is that poor people stay poor because they live like they're rich, and rich people stay rich because they live like they're poor. And here's another example of them gaming the system to get stuff for free that they don't really deserve.
Absolutely. It's been going on forever.
I don't think we got anything else on our list except to, again, encourage people to go to the Facebook page, go to the Twitter page. We'll have the polls up for Drink of the Week. We'll have the polls up for This Week in Racism. Nancy Goodman going up against a peach of a woman in Samantha Grace Vaughn. And, of course, patreon.com/The Ron and Brian Podcast. Any tier is appreciated. Even the $5 tier gets you that exclusive content of the amazing Philadelphia Podcast Festival live show that we did. And always go to Joe 30330 if at all possible.
If you agree with me, go to Joe 30330 and help me in this fight.
Crazy old man. Crazy old man.
Crazy Joe. I mean, you can't argue when Trump calls him Sleepy Joe when he does a performance like that. All right, anything else this week, sir?
No. A story that's just breaking right now.
All right, talk to me.
Woman staying at the Kennedy compound up in the Vineyard dies of suspected drug overdose. A 22-year-old woman staying at one of the homes on the Kennedy compound in Cape Cod was apparently, they called the police today. She was in cardiac arrest at 2:30 this afternoon, and she's dead.
Not a drowning. Didn't drive off a bridge.
We don't know her name yet, so we may be doing a celebrity obituary a week from now.
You never know with those Kennedys. All right. Well, thank you for the breaking news. Thank you all for listening out there. As always, subscribe, rate, review. Reach out to us at ronandbrianpodcast.com. Anything else for the good of the cause today, sir?
I love you.
Love you more. So we're going to roll out of here. We'll be back here next week with a brand new episode. Talk to you then.